The first serious tank I bought was the wrong size. I knew it was the wrong size when I bought it, because it was available and I was impatient. 6 months later, I was breaking the whole thing down, rehousing livestock and starting over with a tank twice the size. Everything I had purchased for that first system, the sump, the return pump, the light, had to be replaced. The tank and stand are the foundation of everything that follows. Get this wrong, and you don't just replace one thing, you replace everything. This is step 2. Let's get it right. Every single component in your Reef system is sized relative to your tank size. Your sump, your return pump, your protein skimmer, your lighting footprint, your flow rate. All of it is calculated from your display volume. Which means the tank and stand decision is the most important decision you will make in this hobby. You can upgrade your skimmer, you can upgrade your lights, you cannot easily upgrade your tank without rebuilding the entire system from the ground up. So, we are going to approach this decision with the weight it deserves. Glass is the standard material for the vast majority of Reef tanks, and for good reason. It's scratch resistant, chemically inert, retains temperature well, and holds its clarity over decades. Within glass tanks, the key structural decision is whether your tank is braced or rimless. A braced tank has cross bracing running along the top and bottom edges of the glass, spanning the open top at intervals. This bracing prevents the glass panels from bowing outwards under the hydrostatic pressure of the water column. The larger the tank, the more critical that bracing becomes. A rimless tank has no bracing. The glass panels are bonded purely by silicone at the seams. For smaller tanks, under 50 gallons, the glass thickness relative to the water volume means bracing is not structurally necessary. Rimless tanks in that range are clean, minimal, and visually stunning. But for larger systems, 80 gallons and above, I strongly recommend braced tanks. The hydrostatic pressure on an unbraced panel at that volume is significant, and the consequences of a panel failing under sustained pressure are severe. I personally run a braced glass tank. For a Reef of this size, it is the right choice. The bracing is not a compromise on aesthetics. It's a structural requirement. Glass thickness scales with volume. A 50-gallon tank typically runs 8mm glass. A 100-gallon system should be on 10 to 12 millimeters. Above 100 gallons, you are looking at 12 to 15 millimeters minimum. Always verify the glass specification with your manufacturer before ordering. For freshwater, the same braced versus rimless logic applies. Smaller planted tanks look exceptional rimless. Larger tanks at 80 gallons and above benefit from bracing for the same structural reasons. Acrylic tanks are significantly lighter than glass, about half the weight for the same volume, and are virtually shatterproof under impact. The trade-off is scratching. Acrylic scratches easily, from algae scrapers, from sand, from equipment contact. And unlike glass, those scratches are difficult to remove without professional polishing. Acrylic also yellows gradually over sustained UV exposure, and high-powered Reef LEDs will accelerate that process over time. My view, acrylic is best suited to very large custom systems, over 300 gallons, where the weight saving becomes structurally significant. For a standard 80 to 130 gallon Reef, glass is the better choice in almost every scenario. Beyond standard glass, there's one upgrade worth understanding. Low iron glass, sometimes called Starfire or OptiWhite. Standard glass has a greenish cast caused by the iron content. Low iron glass is almost optically clear. The difference in how your corals render through the glass is immediately visible. The premium is real, typically 40 to 80% more than the equivalent standard glass. For a first Reef, treat this as an upgrade for your second system. Get the fundamentals right first, then invest in the aesthetics. The stand is the most underestimated component in a Reef build. Most people spend weeks researching their tank and about 20 minutes thinking about what it sits on. I built my stand and made 2 significant mistakes in the process. The first was not getting the level right. A Reef tank that is even slightly off level puts an uneven stress on the glass seals and on the bracing. Over time, that asymmetric pressure can cause a seal to weep at one corner. I had exactly that. a slow weep I traced directly back to a stand that was 3 millimeters out of level. That cost me a full rescape of 100 gallons of water. The rule: your stand must be level within 1 millimeter across its full length. Use a quality spirit level, not a phone app, and check it on both directions before you fill the tank. Once it's filled, corrections become extremely difficult.
My second mistake was cabinet material. My first manufactured cabinet was marine plywood on the outside and MDF on the inside. The moment saltwater made contact with the MDF interior, and it always will in a reef system, the cabinet started swelling and delaminating within 8 months.
The rule: any material inside a reef cabinet must be marine-grade plywood, aluminium, steel, or sealed with a waterproof coating. MDF and standard particle board have no place near a saltwater system. Stand types. Manufactured wood cabinets are the most common. They look good and are cost-effective, but quality varies significantly between manufacturers. Steel and aluminium frame stands offer superior strength and complete water resistance, but are rarely aesthetically finished. Custom-built stands give you total control over dimensions, material, and finish, but require either the skills to build them or the budget to commission them. Whatever you choose, there's 3 non-negotiables. It must be perfectly level, it must be rated for the full system weight, and every interior surface that could contact water must be waterproof. Before you order your tank, there's one decision that needs to be made up front: pre-drilled or retrofit overflow. A pre-drilled tank has factory-drilled holes through the glass for bulkheads and overflow plumbing. Water flows from your display down to the sump via gravity. It is the correct, permanent, professional solution for any sump-based system. A retrofit overflow is a siphon-based system that hangs over the tank rim. No drilling required. It's a compromised solution for tanks that aren't pre-drilled.
I used the retrofit overflow on my first sump-based system because I bought a tank that wasn't drilled. The siphon broke 3 times within 6 months. Each time it broke, the return pump continued to push water into the display with nowhere for it to drain. I came home once to find 8 gallons on the floor.
Always buy a pre-drilled tank. If purchasing from a manufacturer, specify the drill locations and bulkhead sizes before the order is confirmed. If buying second-hand and the tank is not drilled, factor in the cost of professional drilling. A glass specialist will typically charge $40 to $80 per hole. For a standard reef overflow, you need 2 to 3 holes. That is $120 to $240 investment that will prevent a flood. For fresh water, canister filter setups don't require drilling, but any sump-based planted system does. The same pre-drilled recommendation applies. Before you purchase, run through this framework. 1. Confirm your volume from step 1 in the series. That number drives every specification that follows. 2. From volume, confirm whether you need braced or rimless. Anything 80 gallons and above, braced. 3. Specify pre-drill. Confirm drill locations and bulkhead sizes before the order is placed. Never assume. 4. Confirm your glass thickness against the manufacturer's specification for that volume. If they can't tell you the thickness of the glass, find a different manufacturer. 5. Plan your stand before the tank arrives. Level it before it's full. Waterproof every interior surface before the sump goes in. And if you're buying second-hand, water test the tank in a garden or driveway before it comes inside. Inspect every silicone seam. A failed seal on a 100-gallon tank is not a small problem.
In step 3, we get into the sump and filtration system, the engine room of your reef. The decisions there are just as consequential as the ones we covered today. I'll see you there.
If you like this content, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel.